Hi guys, this is Shayna from YumiYarns.com, and we are back with the second part of our heel tutorials. So this is the cuff down sock class that we've been working on all week, and we're using Suburban Stitcher Yarn. This is her sock yarn base in the clean slate colorway, and Diane was nice enough to send that up for the tutorials for us. So we've already finished our heel flap. We're working flap and gusset socks for this pattern. We'll have short row heels in the toe up pattern that we're going to be doing in a couple weeks. But for this one, we finished our heel flap. If you need advice on how to do that, go back a video. I've got links to everything below this one for the previous lessons where we did the cast on, the ribbing, the leg with all the information about how you can customize, and the heel flap. So now today we are going to be working where we turn the heel. So I'm going to hold this up so you can see. For the heel flap, we made a separate square of fabric. So that's where it gets the name flap, because it just looks like a flap. These are our instep stitches, so they're going to be along the top of the foot. We haven't done anything with them while we've been working the heel. They're just kind of on hold for right now. And they're going to continue to be on hold while we turn the heel. So we're going to turn the fabric back around and just working across the same stitches we've been using. I'm going to scooch the yarn ball over a little. We're going to turn our heel. So when you turn a heel, you work short rows, and that's what creates the cup in the bottom of the heel for your foot to sit in. So what we'll do, up to this point on the right side, which is this side, we've been doing our slip stitch pattern to make this texture. Remember how I had told you it would kind of look like ribbing? It's just not as stretchy. There you go, that's what it turns out like. And then all of our purl stitches are on the back, and you can see how the slip stitch purl fabric looks different than just a stockinette stitch purl fabric. So I'm going to get ready to work our first short row. I'm working 64 stitch socks, so I've got 32 stitches along here. Short rows just mean you don't knit all 32 stitches. We're going to go a certain length in, stop, do some stuff, and then turn around and go back the other way without knitting all the stitches on this side. So, and then because we're wanting to make the cup, we're basically going to go part way there, part way back, part way back, part way back. We're just going to kind of keep going like that until we've used up all the stitches back here. So it might be a little confusing at first if you haven't done short rows before, but it's really easy. Once you get going, you'll see what's going on, and it's kind of fun. So for the first stitch, well, the first, 18 stitches, we're just going to knit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So for those of you who are good at mental math, you're probably wondering why 18. Because that's not half of 32. But you want to go a little bit further than the halfway mark because you don't want the heel to be pointy. So we've got 18 stitches, and now we're going to do our special bits so that we don't get holes in our sock. Because if I was just to turn around and start knitting back the other way without doing anything, when I went back this way to work the next couple of stitches, this row that I'm working here would be taller than this row, and then when you went to work it, you would have a hole in your sock, and that wouldn't be very good. especially in the heel. You don't want to make those into the heel. So what we're going to do, we did our 18 knit stitches. Now we're going to slip, slip, knit, and then that shortens a stitch, so it's a decrease. And then we're going to knit one stitch, and then we're going to turn the fabric. We'll be working from the wrong side now. And we're going to purl a stitch, and oops, we don't want to purl that first stitch. We want to slip that first stitch. Sorry, I jumped ahead. Slip that first stitch, just like we were doing before. And now we're going to purl. So we're going to purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, we're not going all the way over because we're doing our short rows. We're just starting to make a little bit of space here so that you have not a point at the end of your heel. So we did our 5 purls. Now we're going to purl 2 together. And now we're going to purl 1. And now we're going to turn our work. So see, we just did 2 short rows. And you'll notice that they actually will go really fast because we have a lot less stitches to go across here. So then on our next row, and this is where the repeating can start now that we've got it set up. Now we do a slip, and then you knit across till you get to this gap. See this gap there between the stitches? That's what we're looking for. Zoom in just a little bit for you. So we're going to knit across to that gap. And then, once we're at 1 stitch before that gap, we're going to do a SSK, so slip, slip, then knit the 2 slips together, and then we're going to knit 1, and then we're going to turn. And again, we'll do our slip on the first stitch. That helps close up that gap. And then, if you look, we have another gap here that we made on the last round, on the last row. So we're going to go to 1 stitch before that gap. Just purling across here. All right, and there's our gap. So we're going to do our purl 2 together to connect both sides of the gap. Then we're going to purl 1 to get set up for the next round because that's what creates our gap. And then we're going to turn. And you can kind of see a little bit of shaping happening there. A little bit of a heel starting to form. So I'm going to keep going. Again, you're going to work to 1 stitch before that gap. Connect the 2, do 1 to set up for your next round or next row, turn your work, purl to the gap, connect the 2, purl 1 to set up for the next round or for the next row. I keep saying round. And then keep going, and then you're going to do that until you have worked all of your stitches. And you'll notice as you go that you're forming a nice little cup, and you'll have turned the heel. So the next thing we will be doing is working the gusset. The gusset is how we will connect our heel flap to the rest of our sock and start making our foot and getting it all shaped up so it actually looks like a sock and not just a weird piece of fabric. And we will be covering that one tomorrow. So I hope you guys have a great day. Visit me over at yumiyarns.com for all the rest of the tutorials and patterns and all sorts of good stuff. If you have any questions, you can always send me a message there or comment below. If you've been enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe and share them with your friends. Thank you, and you guys have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.